Hi, Facebook. I have been down a rabbit hole for the last 3 or 4 months, and I would like to share with you guys some of the things that I have discovered in my digging around down there. So I started down it back in May when our government passed Bill C-15. I did a post about Bill C-15 at the time. I don't know if any of you guys remember it or not. It's also known as UNDRIP, United Nations Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous People. It basically states that if the Indigenous people decide they want their land back, then they can take it back from us. And as far as that goes, many of our Indigenous countrymen are very lovely people, and I'm sure we could work out an agreement with them that would be beneficial for both of us. However, so this is not a racist post. However, do bear in mind the words of concern here are United Nations. This is a United Nations agenda. Anything to do with the United Nations is not beneficial to any of us, regardless of skin color, whether you're white or whether you're native or whatever. Because when our government has been confronted as to who would classify as an Indigenous person, they will not answer that question. So are they actually meaning that our Indigenous Native Canadians can get their land back? Or are they planning on bringing in people from other countries, Indigenous people from other countries, and then letting them take our land? Anyway, whatever they're planning, the end result is that the United Nations wants our land. So Bill C-15 is a land grab. So anyway, when this bill was in the process of being passed, we were all frantically sending emails to our MLAs and everything. And they tried passing it in 2019, I think, and the Senate stopped at that time, but they didn't this time. It went through. So at the time, my husband and I were like, is this actually legal? Like, can they actually do this? How can they do this? So Lauren Googled, do I own the land that I have bought and paid for in Canada? And the result of his Google search was a little bit disturbing, to say the least. It says, no. In short, we actually don't. If you've taken a loan, you've bought your quarter of land, you've made all your payments, you don't owe the bank anything, you still don't own the land that you just bought, even though the title is in your name. You own tenure to that property, and the Queen owns it. So basically, we are tenants here in Canada. We are tenants on the land that we have bought and paid for. Not only that, the government collects land tax from us. Every time we sell it, they collect capital gains tax from us. It's actually fraud. So I did a little bit more digging into it, and it turns out that way back when this country was being settled, I think it was King Edward, he gave out grants to different Canadians, and some of them are actually, the wording on there says that, like, for example, our land, I researched and found our land grant, and it says on there that it was granted to the Canadian Pacific Railway Company and its successors assigned forever. And so that grant to the Canadian Pacific Railway Company, that original one, that stated that the railway company did actually own that land. It was theirs, free and clear, like the Queen had, or the King had no part in it. However, when the Canadian Pacific Railway Company sold that land, then the ownership of that land went back to the Queen. So here we have been in Canada for the last 120 years, buying and selling land, and thinking we own this property, paying our property taxes, which are rising every year, and paying our capital gains tax, and we actually don't even own it. So the next step I took was to try to figure out if there's something we can do about it. And there is, or I should say, there's about a 50% chance that you can. And what that is you establish an allodial title on your property. Now, not every section of land in Canada can be put under a low deal title. You have to go and find your land grant and check the wording on it to see if it's actually a crown patent or not. And it tends to be that all the odd numbered sections are crown patent land. So in their grants, they'll say they were assigned to a specific company, often the railway companies, and they're assigned forever. The even numbered sections have often been granted to individuals, and on there they will say in fee simple. So if it says in fee simple, then it's not patentable, but if it says assigned forever, it is. So ours happened to be in section 15. So I did a grant search, and our grant says it was assigned to the Canadian Pacific Railway Company and its successors forever. So then I decided I was going to go and establish an low deal title to our property. So what I did is I had a lot of help from a lot of people who know a lot more about this than I do. But so first and foremost, once you have established that your land is crown patent, then you establish your full chain of titles. You take it from your title, you as a current owner, you trace that title all the way back to the land grant. Once you've established that chain of titles, you then order a certified copy of your grant, certified copy of the township survey map, and a certified copy of your current title. Once you have all that done, we got a guy by the name of Doug Force to do up a declaration upon our land or whatever, stating that we are now the owners of this property. So then you take that declaration, you hang it in a public building, or if you have a public bulletin in your town, you hang it up there for 30 days to give everybody a chance to see it. And after that, you can post a sign at the edge of your property that this property is under a low deal title. If your property is under a low deal title, there are actually a lot of advantages. For starters, the government cannot take it away from you. It's basically what you've done then is basically declared that you are the sole owners of your land, and what your land then becomes is almost like your own personal little country, if that makes sense. Government agents cannot come on your property. It's actually considered criminal trespass if they do. RCMP officers cannot come on your property without your permission, even if there's a warrant out for your arrest. Doug Force says he does encourage people to let the RCMP come on there, but they do have to ask for permission first. And you don't have to pay property tax. And yeah, the bank cannot repossess it from you either, even if you're not making your payments. The bank can't repossess your land. So yeah, there's a lot of advantages to it. So I just completed ours. I've been looking into doing a few for some friends of ours. And I just want to put this out there so that everybody knows that you don't actually own the land that you bought and paid for. And if you want to try to do something about it, contact me. I can try to help you. If I can't help you, I know of a couple guys that definitely will be able to. And yeah, they're hoping to have about 50 people in Saskatchewan who've done this by the end of the year, just to see how it works out for all of us. Obviously, if you're in Alberta, you can do it too. I could check it out for you too, even if you're in Alberta. But the guy that I'm working with in Regina his main focus is Saskatchewan, obviously. But yeah, so let me know if this is something you're interested in checking out, and I'll see what I can do for you. Just hit me up in the comments or even in Messenger, and share this everywhere, because people actually need to know this. They need to know that we don't actually own the land that we are situated on and that we bought and paid for, and that the government actually, if I'm gonna just put it out there, the government plans to take it away from us. So we're not gonna let them do that. Also, the guy that I'm working with from Regina, he said if enough people do this, he said we can actually legally and lawfully defund the government because we don't have to pay our property taxes. So if we do this, it's basically a way that we as the people can take a certain amount of power back from the government, and they are going to have to dance to our tune instead of us to theirs all the time. So hope to hear from you all. Send this to all your friends, anybody you think might be interested.